Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips hanging out with you on another beautiful but smoky afternoon. As you can guess, we will be talking about wildfire smoke, and I know we're probably getting a little bit fatigued with it. I know myself, I'm kind of over the smoke as well. So if you're kind of over it with me, just hold on a little while longer. We will have an update on that, but I do also have some other fun weather videos that I am going to be sharing today. So it's not going to be all smoke here this afternoon while we're chit-chatting. So make sure that you stay with us here through the coverage. But of course, we do have to have an update on the smoke. At least we have some improvements to first alert you to. We will also be talking about your first alert forecast and the happenings and maybe some changes that we'll be making here this afternoon as a few more data scans are starting to come in here. But as we get started, I do want to show you our camera that we have around Mackinac, the Straits, looking a lot better. It's a little bit easier to kind of see both towers or pillars there. So some of the smoky days that we've had, it's been kind of tricky to kind of even see across the Straits. So thankfully it looks a lot better. This is one of the more clearer days that we've had. We do still have that smoke around, but at least we are seeing some improvements outside. And another location that we were working with some of the smoke was here in the Detroit area. Actually, yesterday, Detroit had in the top 5 as far as their air quality in the world. They ranked in the top 5 for the worst air quality. So officials are still saying that we expect to see the conditions today of air quality not being so great. So that's why we do have those alerts that are in effect from the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, EGLE. Wildfire smoke from Canada, which it's kind of been hanging around Michigan since about last Thursday. This is going to start to thin out a little bit for us, but we still are going to find that some of that smoke is yet going to be hanging around here for a little while longer. So if you are in some of our groups that you're a little more sensitive to it, just know you're not alone. We're all kind of battling with it. The Detroit area. Oh, let's go back to that other video here. That's a little of the fun stuff that I have planned here for later today. But we are going to be finding that our air quality here in the Detroit area, they were amongst the top 5 cities in the world yesterday with the worst air quality. So that was contributed to AQ Air, which is kind of reading some of that. So not ideal, not what we would like to see, but you can see the hazy conditions around the Motor City. Everybody just kind of having to battle through some of the smoke that we've been having lately. As we look at some of our air quality alerts here, you are going to find that we do have all of mid-Michigan and all of the entire state that are still under the air quality alert. So this is kind of the same story that we've had here for quite a while. These alerts went into effect last Thursday, and then they just continue on and on. Now we are going to continue to also track with the National Weather Service and EGLE to see if they are going to be continuing that alert. I'm optimistic that we can hopefully have that alert expire tonight, because that's what it is scheduled to go through. Checking here now, they have not extended it yet into Wednesday. So that's some good news that we aren't seeing that being extended outward. But if some changes come in this afternoon, of course, we'll be first alerting you to those changes starting at 4 o'clock on TV5. Now our air quality index, you are going to find for a lot of us that we are still into that orange, which is unhealthy for some. So mainly people who do have underlying conditions, and also some of our more older populations and kids, they may find that this is a little bit trickier to kind of handle. So that means that we will have to limit some of our time outdoors and just kind of hang inside where we have the air conditioning, kind of keep that air a little bit cleaner for us. Here's our camera in the Vehicle City, our Vehicle City Harley-Davidson camera. And this just kind of shows the murky conditions, not necessarily as hazy, but the skies, it's just kind of like we have a filter. It seems like when you walk outside, we're in maybe an old time movie, just because we kind of have that orange hue over our lives that we've been working with. So we'll just all imagine that we're in Hollywood while we have the smoke here and kind of living our lives, kind of working through the smoke. But as we look ahead into the forecast, we're kind of hoping to see that we can get out of that unhealthy for some. We are still hanging there, but I am optimistic that we get closer to Wednesday that we will bump back into the moderate. So that would mean that we're sitting around 50 to 100 to get us into that moderate stage. A lot of us have still been into the triple digits when we look at our air quality index. So a little while longer, but hopefully we start to see some improvements. And we were first alerting you today that we would be looking at some lighter smoke into the forecast. It it is still hanging around, but at least it's not nearly as thick as what it was on Monday. And even as we go into tomorrow, we will start to see that it continues to thin out. One of the things though to keep in mind, and I was sharing this with the newsroom as well, is that we do have the conditions where the smoke, we have it in place, and then it starts to get blown around. So if we have a northeast wind, then we're blowing that smoke towards the southwest. Well, then the next day we pull a southeasterly or even southwesterly wind, and then that allows then that smoke to be coming back at us. So with a lot of that smoke kind of hanging around, and with that wind direction changing at any time, that's going to allow us to be bringing a lot of that smoke right back in. So just know that this is going to be hanging around the Great Lakes region. We are not alone here in mid-Michigan working through the smoke, but at least we are finally starting to see some improvements in the first alert forecast. Let's dive through the model. Of course, this model is also going to be on the First Alert Weather app. So at 10 o'clock in the morning, we send that out on the app. So if you don't have that, you can scan the QR code right here, and then you can get that reminder to kind of see how the smoke is going to be looking here through the day. But as we kind of see some of the yellows and greens in there, that is kind of that low to moderate zone. But the good news is that we will start later this evening to add a little more of that blue color in. So that means that that does have lighter smoke. Though it is still around, at least it is thinner. We kind of have to take some winds where we can kind of score here. But as we go into Wednesday morning, we'll see that we do have some lighter smoke that's still hanging around. But we are starting to see some improvements at this point. And when we do go into the afternoon, we actually really see a lot more light blue shading coming in. So that really kind of signals that the smoke is thinning out. And as we go a little bit deeper into the forecast, you will actually see that it does try to clear up just a little bit by midnight tomorrow night. But it is still going to be hanging around. So what we would really kind of need to get this smoke pushed out of here is kind of a pretty steady couple of days where we can have that smoke that just continues out of the same direction. So then we can start to just continually kind of clear the air. Another thing is that we've been stuck under high pressure. And what happens under high pressure is it kind of pushes the air downwards. So that's causing a lot of that smoke higher up in the atmosphere to be pushed down towards ground level. That's also why when we have high pressure, you don't have a lot of clouds, because clouds need upward motion to get going. So that's why typically high pressure brings us nicer weather, but it is also bringing some smokier conditions here for us. Now, I do want to pull up our map and talk about where a lot of the smoke is coming from, because we are seeing it coming out of Canada. The Canadian wildfires are still very much active, and of course that's fairly close to us, to where we are able to bring in the smoky conditions. As we just look at that flow kind of coming around, we still have a lot of active fires into the central portion of Canada. But there are still some wildfires that are active into the western portion of the United States. So you can even kind of see here, let me get my pointer tool going, that we do have these fires that are brewing off towards our west. Now you can even see kind of this airflow is coming around this high pressure that we have in the Four Corners region. So this is going to continue to head into the Central Plains, and then we kind of have our wind that takes a little bit of a dive, and that starts to pull the smoke into our area. So we will have those conditions remain smoky for us. And so it's not just the Canadian wildfires, though that's kind of the bulk of it. We will really find that we can still pick up smoke from the fires that are towards our west. So we are still going to be battling this for a while. I know it's not ideal. A lot of us are not necessarily thrilled with it, but we just kind of have to roll with the punches, kind of take care of yourselves. Of course, run your air conditioning if you haven't, and stay inside. I know it's hard. We all want to get outside, have a little bit of fun, but that smoke is still going to be hanging around for us. Now, though we've talked about smoke, I do still have some rain chances to first alert you to into the forecast. So we'll be watching for those as we take a real quick break. So hang with us. We still have a little more to talk. Plus, I do have a little bit of snow to first alert you to. If you're looking for something a little bit cooler, we'll have a look at that coming up in just about a minute. Welcome back. We are going to be talking about some rain chances here in our forecast because it's fairly dry, and a lot of you may be hoping that you can kind of give your hose a break, help your gardens out with a little bit of natural rain, but we really don't have a lot of rain chances here. So far today, our radar has been dry. We did have one lone shower yesterday into Midland County that did just cross into Isabella County yesterday afternoon. So we had just a few locations, mainly though a lot of that is just agricultural land. So not a lot of folks having rain gauges out there to catch up on some of these raindrops, but at least we had maybe a few farmers who got lucky to pick up on some water. But it is going to be getting pretty dusty out there, so I know that we're a lot of us trying to do the rain dance. But as we look ahead towards Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we do have that chance sitting at about 10%. Now Wednesday, I have been kind of keeping an eye to the afternoon data that's already been rolling in. It's not completely finished yet, but as I kind of was sneaking a peek, I saw that we do have potentially a little bit of a higher chance for seeing some of that rain on Wednesday. So I do anticipate bumping that up. We may need about 20%, at best 30%. So that would be one of the changes that we are talking about as we go a little bit closer towards our newscast at 4 p.m. on TV5. Into Thursday, we'll watch to see how well that can hold together. But even Thursday and Friday, both of them still just have some lower rain chances for us. Into the hour by hour, we are going to find that we do have still a spotty shower that's possible today, but it really doesn't have a lot of confidence in the hour by hour, and I don't anticipate a lot of play either, considering we had just that one lone shower yesterday, and today it looks to be even a touch drier than yesterday. It's going to be hard to get any shower cells going. So if you do have plans, maybe you have some summer ball that's going to be happening, the smoke will be out there for you, but thankfully we do have some drier conditions. That sun's also going to last all the way through sunset, and then we will find going into tomorrow morning a handful of clouds start to come in as we will be finding the spotty showers. A lot of that will build in into the afternoon when we have a little more heat, a little more energy. So we will be looking at some spotty showers and isolated rumble of thunder. But we will find it's just going to be here and there. So I know a lot of you are in the market for some rainfall. So again, we might have to do the rain dance to kind of bring some of that rain towards us. But it really is going to depend where you're at, because this is not a widespread event. This is going to be that pop-up nature to where some of us pick up on some rain, and then maybe even a mile or two down the road, you're going to find that, well, they didn't get a lot of rain. So we will be watching that activity as we go into the back half of our Wednesday. Now into Thursday, we're watching this one kind of closely because it looks like we still have that pop-up potential that'll be coming back, but other model runs have been kind of showing a little bit of a drier forecast. So there is a little bit of variation on Thursday. So right now we do have that 10% in there. It is going to be an isolated chance for some pop-ups, but with us having a little more heat in the forecast, that is going to signal that we do have the chance for at least seeing a few raindrops trying to come through. But also this week, it is going to be tune-up week for Back to the Brick. So if you're going to be going to Flushing tonight, we are going to find that we do have partly cloudy skies here for the evening, and the big one is the dry weather. I do anticipate it to be dry as that event is going to be rolling through. Temperatures are going to be into the lower 80s as the event gets underway, and then by 7 o'clock we do back down into the upper 70s, but we will find really a nice night. So if you want to get out there, see some nice wheels, make sure you're headed to Flushing for Back to the Bricks tune-up week. So a lot of that excitement here at the end of summer. Always a fun event to go to. Now, as far as the humidity, I know some of you have said in our Facebook comments that kind of tired of the smoke and the humidity. And I do want to first alert you that some of that is coming back, but the humidity is not going to be nearly as uncomfortable as what it was, because the last time we kind of really had that big surge of sticky conditions, our dew points were around 72, 73 degrees. So that's very humid for us. And you're going to find that our dew points, though they are anticipated to be into the mid 60s, and we may get close to a 70 at times, but if we can hold into those mid 60s, that's just kind of that humid, muggy zone for us. It's still going to be sticky. It's still going to feel like summer outside, but it's not going to be the most uncomfortable air that we've experienced for the summer. So we kind of have to view it as that it's a little bit better than previously, but it is still going to be feeling like summer as we look ahead into the forecast. Now, as we check those next 7 days, we are going to see that we have temperatures that are going to be into the 80s, and that is going to be something that we watch, because even today, we have found that the smoke kind of keeps us just a little bit cooler. So a lot of us are into the upper 70s, lower 80s. So really along 127, I-69 is where we have those 80s coming in. But we all have a better chance at picking up on that heat later this week. So even by Friday, that's when we're going to start out with the 90s, lower 90s for your weekend plans. I know with it kind of being here the end of summer, might have some family reunions going on. You might be trying to go and get some ball games in. I believe the Loons are going to be home. So we are going to have hopefully some nicer weather for those games, but we do have that pop-up rain chance. If you're going to go to the games, have that First Alert weather app, kind of keep an eye to those conditions. Going into Sunday and Monday, we have a cold front that's going to be coming through, so we will watch to see the timing of that because that seems to be shifting a little bit closer towards Monday rather than Sunday. So we will be potentially needing to make some changes there, but right now we do kind of see that trend to be Sunday evening going into Monday for the chance for us to see some storms. Now, I do have that promise of some snow talk as I found some fun videos from our CBS affiliates. So I do want to bring those up to kind of share something a little bit different because I know a lot of us have been working through the smoke a lot lately, and we're maybe getting tired of talking about that. So here are just some sheep that we have. You're going to see that they actually had in Ireland some weather warnings that were in effect with the sheep here. So they were doing the most sensible thing. The person who captured this, Merlin Tompkins, he said that they were doing pretty sensible things, taking cover from a tree nearby, so trying to avoid the wind and the rain. They are going to be seeing the strong winds here for a while in the United Kingdom. And so they've kind of been working through this for a while. So kind of can't blame the sheep for trying to stay a little bit out of the elements and kind of use that pile of wood there and under the tree to kind of hover and hunker down when those storms come through. Now, as promised, though, there is also a little bit of snow outside. You are going to find that we do have some snow video coming in. So this is going to be from parts of eastern Australia where they were blanketed with their thickest snow layer in decades. So this happened last Saturday. And the Weather Bureau said that some of the areas in northern tablelands in New South Wales received as much as 40 centimeters or 15 inches of snow. So this video, which was reported by Rach Miller, shows kind of that thick blanket of snow trying to get going. She said that it felt like Europe, but yeah, it was close to home for them. A once-in-a-lifetime snowfall, and we are lucky enough to be in the right place and the right time to enjoy it. So we are seeing some snow for our friends in Australia, so that is pretty exciting for them that they are able to kind of get a little taste of winter after not being able to maybe play outside in all of that. So some of you might be excited after all the warm air to kind of get some of that snow going. Others may be hoping to kind of let it hold here a little while longer and maybe not ready to kind of drive through the elements. I know that's not really a fan favorite to have to drive into the snowy weather, but we are going to have those days before we know it. But for now, we're going to enjoy a little bit of that sunshine, that summer heat coming in. So just think, when we have 90s over the weekend, just know somebody has seen some snow lately. So if you need some vibes to kind of keep you a little bit cooler, hopefully this little taste of some winter weather can help to do that. Now, that's all, though, that I do have for today. Hopefully tomorrow you can tune in at 2 o'clock. We'll be still probably talking about the smoke because that's going to be here for a while, but we will update you on still some of those isolated and lower rain chances that we have. We're also going to be keeping an eye to the weekend and the summer heat that's going to be coming in. Again, 90s, so maybe have some of those snowy thoughts here as we get a little bit closer to that time frame. But just a reminder, you can join us tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll be at WNEM.com and on your TV5 News app. We're also going to be on the Roku and Fire Stick channels. All you got to search is WNEM or even TV5 if you have a Roku or Fire Stick to get our app going. And also you can connect with us on YouTube and Facebook. That's also another great spot that you can replay. So if you're not able to join us at 2 o'clock, you can always catch us after the fact on YouTube and Facebook by watching those videos there. But thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully we can see you right back here tomorrow, and we'll be hanging out again to talk about a little bit of our First Alert forecast.
Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing. Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.